Word from the front line, sir. They've said Vivian has completely replaced Bernice in all disorder teams. She's fallen from the meta.
No, this can't be. Won't anybody find a use case? Fret no more. I have come with a solution.
What is it?
Crit Burnice. Oh, you gotta be
Hi, my name's Kreese, or Kree, and I am the modern day equivalent of a medieval jester. So Bernice is one of my favorite agents, and ever since Vivian has come out, she's kind of been replaced in a role as a disorder sub-DPS. I mean, she still works perfectly fine, don't get me wrong. Like, arguably still works, but Vivian's unique ability to trigger the Bloom, it just gives her an edge over. So I've been trying to cook up something devious to give a use case to Burnice, and while it's not amazing, it's good. I like it. It's fun. So that is Crit Burnice. She has a very interesting kit with that her EX special has really high multipliers. Her ultimate has a really high multiplier, and then her core scales really heavily off her attack. If you see that 350%. And then also, she also scales off of her anomaly proficiency. So you can get some very interesting numbers with her her off-field assist, her afterburns. So for this video, I'd just like to show you something that I've been using since 1.3 for my Burnice, and that's Quick Swap Bernice and Lighter. Lighter is an amazing buffer, and frankly, I think he's heavily underrated, and his kit is so nichely strong, I don't see him ever getting power creeped. Like, if you were to sit me down and ask who the most unpower creepable unit was, it would be Lighter. So I'm running Bernice on 4-piece Chaos Jazz, just because I feel like this set is kind of really tailor-made for her. I mean, if you read it, it's not really, it is tailor-made for her. It is her set. It's like equivalent to Branch and Blade Song 4-piece for Miyabi. Yeah, I think the only other two people that can run a 4-piece Chaos Jazz and use it effectively are Yanagi and Grace. So, and then I have been cooking up some dastardly crit pieces for it. And so, I'll go over the energy regen slot in a little bit. But Bernice, if you are going to run a crit Bernice, you have to understand that her stat spreads are really disgusting to manage. So first of all, you need a lot of crit. I'm a little low on crit rate, but for how much attack she does, it's fine for me. And then second of all, you want a lot of attack. So I have her signature, so I have, you know, the extra attack and then the extra off-field damage and extra energy regen and extra AP. Her Wingen's very important for doing a crit Bernice. If you can't get that, I'm sure you could stat stick like Nekomata's Wingen just for the extra crit rate, or you could pick, I don't know, an actual like limited attacks one, like if you need more crit damage, or you could run Evelyn's just as a stat stick. If you want to keep it in anomaly, just for the attack, you could probably go for Weeping Gemini. I don't think Roaring Ride would be all too great, just because I don't think you can keep the stacks up that high, but it's something worth checking into. But I think Weeping Gemini would probably be your best bet if you don't have her signature or some other stat stick to help with your crit goals. So with her, yeah, like I said, you're going to want a lot of AP, a lot of attack, and a lot of crit. And that's really hard to manage, and you'll be in the mines for quite some time. But if you just find a way to efficiently grind it, like I've been getting pieces for my Yanagi, which, by the way, since last video I've updated, there was a bunch of really helpful comments talking about optimal ways to play her and optimal ways to build her. And I did not know that Weeping Gemini would be a million times better than Lip Gloss, but here we are. After that video, I did a really casual run of Deadly Assault, and I got 31k instead of the 24k that was last video, so major improvement. If you came from that video, definitely run Yanagi on Weeping Gemini if you do not have her signature. Though with how much I've been playing her, I think I honestly will go for her signature whenever she reruns, and hopefully that's next patch. Anyways, so with Bernice, again, you're gonna want a lot of attack, a lot of AP. You're gonna want to run an attack piece 5 for sure. because she just scales so heavily off attack that I don't think fire damage bonus. But I'll also get into the fact on why you should probably run attack over fire damage bonus in a little bit. And then for her 6 slot, I've been toying around with this a lot, but I find with how much you use her and how many attacks this team does, the energy regen is probably better for most people. A cool way I've found to mitigate this is the fact that I have her other build on Corin, so don't question it. I share the last 2 pieces. It's 4-piece Hormone Punk. I kind of realized that if you just swap onto Burnice to refill your afterburn and then go off field, you can really line up your Hormone Punk, and she gets like a ridiculous amount of attack. Like she gets like 3,000 attack on my build from Hormone Punk and then Astra, and then you know, any of the like little mini buffs that come with it. It's crazy. The only problem is yeah, just keeping up the uptime, which it's not that bad because Bernice is really off field. I think she's one of the very few off-field like crit supports. The only other one that I'd find is like a pretty good sub DPS is Trigger, which eventually I want to build her better and get more crit damage and actually see like her potential as a sub DPS, but that'll come later. I think the next video I want to do is Shock Harumasa, because I haven't seen a lot of people talk about that and I've never tried it. And his core actually has very interesting stun or anomaly for additional ability, and he gets quills from anomaly. Anyways, back to what we were talking about. So yeah, for this team I'm running Bernice, Lighter, and Astra. So Astra's gonna give a ton of attack, she's gonna give damage percent, she's gonna give crit damage, you know, all the good stuff Astra does. If you don't have Astra, in M6 Lucy with her signature, or even I've been running Game Ball, because Game Ball gives 12 crit rate whenever you hit something who's weak to your element. So Lucy hits him with her EX, and suddenly everyone hitting the enemy has 12 extra crit rate, which really helps. But for this video, I like to run the best in slot. Just know you can run Lucy. I have cleared very easily with Bernice, Lighter, Lucy. It's what I was running before Astra, but Astra really increases the team, like she would any team, honestly. So with the whole point of my Lighter is, of course, Lighter buffs fire damage like crazy. He gives stun, which gets you stun windows, which is really important when you want, you know, big damage numbers. But the interesting thing about my Lighter is he's not on a support set. He's a DPS Lighter. Lighter has a lot of multipliers, like really high multipliers, and he has a lot of buffing. So if you build him to do damage while keeping his impact high, from his signature, from Hell Gears, for anything like that, you can get some really funny damage numbers on him, especially from his ult. His ult multiplier is crazy. I hit like 400 or 500 Ks when the buffs are right. So Lighter is going to be a quick swap DPS with Burnice. They have a lot of animations that really line up and they're really funny to look at. And then he's also going to be buffing fire damage. So with my Lighter build, I have him on 4-piece Inferno just to help with his crit goals. And then I'm running 2-piece Shockstar to get his impact higher for his buffs. And then for disc 5, I've been playing around with the pen ratio disc. So my reasoning behind the pen ratio disc is Lighter buffs fire damage, Astra buffs attack. So the only thing that you're missing out to like equalize your stats is pen ratio. My pen ratio disc is really bad. But it's just something I'm playing around with. I might swap it midway through the video and see if an attack disc just performs better because it has better substats. But for right now, it's just something I've been playing with, so that's why his attack's a little low. So another thing about my Lighter is I would like to eventually get him on the 4-piece new set. Like it's like King of the Summit, King of the Shaper, something like that. The new stun set. The only issue is I have not farmed it, so I really don't have a lot of pieces of it. I have like, I think 1 good piece that has crit rate, crit damage, and it's well leveled. So let's go ahead and test this out on a couple things, and I'll kind of go over it a little bit. So first, I'd like to bring it to, where are we? I'd like to bring it to, oh, I hate this new map, like the new map system. I feel geriatric when I'm trying to navigate it. So I would like to show off a little bit of the animations. So what's so important about Astra in this team for me is that Lighter works very well when he has a lot of quick assists. So you're really going to be quick assisting him on field a lot, so he can do like his enhanced basic attack. So I don't want to make this too weird, but we're going to get some energy, and then we're going to take off that energy because I want to show the energy issues that this team has. So I'll go and get all my buffs set up. Probably not on this little guy. Let's turn it to something that's actually fire weak. My thing with wanting a fire weak enemy is most players are going to play their teams into weak content. Not a lot of people run neutral content, like neutral enemies. Alright. So we're trying to get full astral voice uptime and then full lighter buff. Alright. So now that that's set up, we can kind of see the damage. See, it's pretty decent. And then what we're going to be doing is we're just trying to manage Burnice's fuel really well. Yeah, Lighter hits some very interesting numbers, and this is low-key half a DPS Burnice, like sub DPS, and also showcasing the potential of a DPS Lighter, and how Burnice really helps his potential because her afterburn, so whenever you're hitting, you can see it proccing right there. It kind of like stopgaps his. It fills the void, the void in between his damage. So if you look at that bottom fire number, you can see that's her afterburn. You can see it right there when it crits, when it wants to. So the main concern with this team really is the fact that Bernice's energy is really hard to manage. So like you constantly, like you're playing Five Nights at Freddy's just looking at her fuel and making sure that you're not going over what you need to go. But you can hit some pretty funny damage numbers, especially when they're stunned, which Lighter's very good at. That's why keeping his impact is very important. But another interesting thing, so if we talk about their interactions together, is, let me get my Lighter to an actual phase where he can, you know, have his morale state. Right, there we go. So for Burnice, you can hold your attack and swap on the Lighter, and she'll continue to do her fire, and you can also swap back, and you can just keep going back and forth between them, and their animations really line up. Let me show you how it's done. Where they can almost, like, once you get really good with it, which I'm the worst example for it. That's funny because, you know, I'm the guy showing you the build. You can really get them to almost be on field at the same time together like that. And then you do hit that, and you can press his triangle, he'll go up in the air, and you can quickly swap onto Burnice, and then as he's still in the air, you can hold your basic attack. So when you're running, another thing to mention while I'm doing this is while you're running Energy Regen Disc 6, you can tell, like, there's, like, it's non-existent, the energy issues. But if we were to go for an attack Disc 6, I just got fucking smacked. Just gonna run away from this guy. Like we're playing Infected in Halo right now. So the fun thing to mention is that attack is very important on Burnice, but attack doesn't mean anything if you can't keep her afterburn procced. So until there's a better way to get your energy consistent, you just have to run Energy Regen Disc 6 or Hormone Punk or Swing Jazz or something of that nature. You have to get your energy regen up. Her signature is really good at helping her energy, but it's really tough to do without the energy regen. So for Pompey, he's fire weak. And then we're gonna go ahead and turn off Pursue the Depths because I don't really want to waste my battery on it. Funnily enough, this is always the team I run into Pompey, so it's already set up. For Bang Boos, I really just run Snap. Like if you're running Astra, just run Snap. But if you don't have that, you can run Rocket Boo for extra fire uptime, Cry Boo, anything like that. I want to eventually test the energy regen ones. So Boo Resher, Night Boo, Butler Boo if I ever eventually get him. My only issue with Bang Boos is I feel as if they're very unimportant. I really hope they rework Bang Boos because I don't find them useful. I don't find them important or valuable enough to really put any thought into. So what I try to do is I try to Astral Voice into Quick Assist onto Lighter and then onto Burnice. So it looks like is that onto Lighter. So when you Quick Assist with Astra onto Lighter, you always get like the really nice one. And then you always want to Defensive Assist with Lighter as much as possible. So I don't know if you saw, but whenever you do that, you can hold. And what you're doing is you're gonna really build Lighter's pressure or morale. And yeah, as you can see, it really melts. But when you're on Burnice, another really good thing that I haven't mentioned about Burnice is she's very good at enabling DPS Lighter, just for the fact that if you look at his morale bar, she is probably like the most energy hungry character in the game. Like she just spends it. Another thing with sub DPS Bernice is you really want to, oh man, I'm whiffing the dodges because I'm talking. Another thing that's important to know with DPS Bernice, like a sub DPS, is that you really want to save her ultimate as much as possible for whenever your fuel's getting low, because if you didn't know, her ultimate refuels her by 60 fuel, so it's really nice for getting your fuel bar up. So as you can see, it's very doable. Like especially like if you pulled Bernice and you have a Lighter, and your Lighter maybe is just, you know, sitting on the sidelines. You don't really use them for Hugo. You don't use them for Evelyn because you don't have those agents. You just pulled Lighter because you like Lighter. This is a very good team for Lighter. The stat spread on the left side's funny to look at, not gonna lie, because it really looks like Lighter is an attack unit, but he's not. He's a stunner. But I lost my train of thought there. But no, it's a very good team. Like, if you don't have a use case for Bernice anymore, and you don't have a use case for your Lighter because you pulled him just because you like him, which is the best way to play, arguably. You should just pull units you like, rather than consulting tier lists. They really work together. And I know I'm using it with Astra, but like I said earlier, before I was using Astra, back in 1.3, I was using Lucy. And Lucy at M6 especially, like you could build her to do damage as well. And she has like the pig rain whenever like a heavy attack hits, like the EX heavy attack. And so with Bernice, it actually just constantly like rains pig meteors, like how it does with Piper. And I don't know. I just think that Lucy is really underrated, and I think she's very good for being an A rank unit, especially when you get her M6. As you can see, to ignore this, I was testing a couple of things on non-enemy weakness just to see how it would work. So that brings up a good point that actually I was going to forget about if I didn't mention it. So Caesar is somebody I wanted to test because she works with Bernice. They're in the same faction, so they trigger each other's additional ability. The issue with running someone like Caesar instead of Astra or Lucy is that their buffs is that Caesar's shield, the buff from it, like the attack buff, only works when the agent is on field. So when Bernice is off field, her afterburn does not get that extra attack. So it's an issue that like you really can't run Caesar on the team unless you're really on fielding Bernice. But with Bernice's energy, it's just really difficult to do that. I think if you're gonna run Bernice as a crit DPS, you can really only run her as like a quick swap DPS with Lighter. Yeah, I think she really works in just filling the gaps of DPS. So there's like filling the DPS loss gaps when you're like setting up buffs because her afterburn triggers, when you're refueling her, when Lighter is doing his enhanced punch, it procs a lot during that. And it's fun. It's very fun. It's not the best. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, this is better. And I'm not gonna make the thumbnail like the GTA art where like the guy's walking the two dogs. I really thought about it, where it's like Bernice is the guy holding the leashes, and like Evelyn and someone else is like the dogs, and be like the title's like, Crit Bernice, Dog Walks Evelyn, the only fire DPS you'll ever need. But no, that's stupid. It was just a funny thought. But she's fun. It's fun, and not everything has to be the best thing you've ever seen. And also, playing around and experimenting with stuff like this really helps widen your horizon on what's possible in this game. This game is not the hardest game in the world. Like, you don't have to run the best units and the best team comps. Is this a waste of Astriel? Can Astriel be used on a better team comp? Could I replace Burnice with Evelyn or with Hugo or someone like that? Yes. Would I get a marginally higher score? Yes. But is this just as fun? Is this a different experience? Yes, also. So I think that's a thing to equate in. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Crit Burnice is better than Anomaly Burnice, but it's fun. And it works, and that's the important thing. I really don't know how to talk during Deadly Assault, I'm not gonna lie, because I lock in super hard, so if it's not like the best looking gameplay or my highest clear, just know it's because I cannot multitask. With this team, I have gotten a max of about, when it was really shilling Fire Week content, like it was like increased fire damage and all that from a long time ago, I was able to get 45k. Against Bringer, the crit Bringer, not the anomaly Bringer. Though Bernice eats anomaly Bringer as well. But okay, let's stop there. But in my test runs, I have gotten a max of 31k. So not bad at all. That's well above the 20k that you need to clear. You don't even need 20k to get all the polychromes. You literally just need 16k. You need 6 stars. But so just as a precursor, I am going to try to talk the best I can through this. So, like I said, whenever we're starting this, we're always going to want to try to quick assist on the lighter. And then we're just really going to try to get his morale state and parry as often as possible. The funny thing about Lighter is I have a really bad habit of just letting him take hits because he just has so much interruption resistance. And by the end of the fight, I look and he has like no health. I'm like, huh, how'd that happen? But the issue is because I just let him get smacked. But yeah, as you can tell, it works. It works very well. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap onto Burnice. We're going to use her ult. It's going to refill her fuel. It's going to give us a quick assist on the lighter. We'll hold to get rid of our morale state. We'll tap triangle up in the air, tap down, and then tap his ult, and that's a really good rotation just to get a bunch of damage out. And then our energy regen is usually stacked up enough to where we can swap back onto Burnice, hold basic attack to do the spin, and then we can swap back onto lighter. It sounds complicated, but it's really not that, it's really not that hard. What we're also trying to do is every time we get the prompt to swap between them, like with Astra's Quick Assist, we're always going to want to do that. We're trying to focus on both of them. Once we get closer to our stun window, we'll go ahead and pop Astra's ult, just so we can get some extra chains in. Okay, and then we're going to pop that so we can trigger the chain with a chain on the lighter. And then we're going to swap Burnice. Then we're going to swap lighter. And then we're going to swap back onto Burnice. Hold triangle just a little bit, and then swap under her ult. So what we did there is we built a little bit of fuel and then swapped onto Burnice, like her ult, so we would fully fill her fuel. And then we can end our rotation with just spending our energy, getting all our stuff built up. So if you have an excess of energy on your Burnice, the thing is that you're not going to want to spend it all, even if it's an extra DPS increase. You're going to really want to try to keep that extra energy for when you need to fill... Oh, I got smacked there. You're really going to want to keep that energy for when you're, when you need to refill your fuel. So like here, and then we swap back in the lighter, and we just let him get absolutely curb stomped there. With lighter as well, when you dodge, you actually extend his enhanced punch. All right, buddy. Just stood there looking at him, waiting for the parry. So while the red flashes are there, you always want to try to dodge with lighter because it helps him do more damage because he gets his enhanced punch state. So we spin that, get our fuel just a little bit higher. Once you play her more, you can understand how much fuel is on the bar. And then we always want to try to use Bernice's ult during these windows. Of course, you can use it whenever you, what's it called? Whenever you need to fuel up. It's a very good way. Come on, come on, come on, let me hit the trigger. Yeah, I got the ult. So you can definitely spend her ult if you need the fuel. But I would recommend saving it. Where's Lighter going? I caught him like at the beginning of his punch. So yeah, I can't believe I talked through that and actually got a pretty decent score. I was expecting like maybe 24k. But yeah, 33k. 33k with this team. As you can tell, I was very good about swapping between them and making sure they both had kind of typical, like similar DPS. So you can see I have 1557 on Burnice and then 1889 on Lighter. So this is a very tried and true quick swap DPS team. And I love it. I really love this team. I think it's really underrated. I think it uses units that you might not have a use for if you don't have, you know, if you don't have Evelyn, if you don't have Hugo, and you really love your Bernice. It's a team that definitely works. For investment wise, I would recommend, it's very expensive, but I would recommend getting Bernice in her Wenjin. I would recommend getting Lighter in his Wenjin. Lighter's Wenjin is just very good at hitting his impact goals. He has really high impact goals, and then it also gives you 30 crit damage for fire damage, which is really nice. And then for Bernice, for her investment vertically, her M1 I think is pretty good and pretty important for running a DPS build. My partner's account, she has her M1 W2. She got lucky and got the W engine twice. But M1 brings her DPS up marginally. So I'm hitting like maybe 120Ks per afterburn when it crits. On her account with, you know, an M0W1 Lighter and M0W1 Astra, but an M1 W2 Bernice, her afterburns are hitting like 250K. So her M1 is like, if you really want to invest in this team, her M1 is very good. Her M2 is also very good because it gives everybody, what is it, 20% pen, which is really nice because this team gives a lot of attack and a lot of fire damage. So if you're like really wanting to invest in this team, M2 Lighter and M2 Burnice are very good. Very, very good. I think I will quickly try to do a Lucy run and just show. So we got 33k with, you know, best in slot using Astra. But what if Astra's being used? So it gets a little janky with Lucy, I'm not gonna lie, but your crit's easier to hit. And you get a little bit of crit damage. I think Lucy with Game Ball is pretty good for fire weak enemies. Like a pretty good replacement for Astra. This I just looked at the runtime of this video. This video is going to be long. So when I'm starting this, I try to hit on Lucy as much as possible just to get her energy up. And then I can get my first attack buff up. I can swap on a Lighter. Get that set up. And then you're going to want a defensive assist onto Bernice so you can start the initial spin like that. And then you're always going to want to try to do your EX right before you do a parry, just because what that's going to do is it's going to allow Lucy to stay on field and be able to do her effect while you're using someone else. I think that's one of the most... Oh, I just messed that up. I think that's one of the most important things for Zenless. I was about to call it Genshin, I don't know why. Is that you can keep an agent on field while you... while you're on a different agent for animations. Yeah, so the rotation should look pretty similar. The only issue is that Lucy just isn't as good as a Lighter enabler as Astra with the quick assists. You're also probably going to see yourself on field with one agent rather than both. Yeah, so if you can dodge with Lighter, it's really nice because it immediately skips to his this like enhanced punching state, which is where a lot of his damage comes from.
We're just getting started.
Right. EX and the ult, that's going to get us on the Lucy. Got a triangle to get the buff up, and then we'll swap to Lighter just for the end of it. Alright, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our fuel stack back up. I hate Lucy just for the fact that her boar, I feel like it's a bug. It misses so much. Like, I don't know if y'all have been noticing that, but I feel like every time I use Lucy, I always miss her boar. And Lighter's so good at what he does. Oh, I hate this stage of Pompey. It's such a DPS loss. And we're always going to want to make sure that we're always glancing up at Bernice's fuel gauge, because you really want to make sure that that's always full or you lose a lot of your DPS. Right, we're going to spend our morale, swap onto Burnice, use her ult again. Swap on a Lucy. If you have her ult, try to use it right at the beginning of the chain attack, because her chain attack's really not that important like her quick assist.
Make way for the undefeated champion. There it is.
And then whenever you're like, you don't need to swap onto Lucy, always try to back swap. So by hitting left bumper or C on mouse and keyboard. Just because like swapping onto Lucy, unless you really need to build a little bit of energy, really isn't all too important. Alright, so right here at the end, as you can see, it is a DPS loss, of course. But this team isn't meant to be the most, like, you know, top of the top team. You can see that we got 23k. So about what, a less than 12k drop, but it's above 20k. And that's what's important. You get your polychromes. I'm really not the best player. So like, I'm not going to sit here and hit like manual chains and optimal rotations and everything. I'm just playing because I like these characters. And I think that's the most important part of the game, is playing characters that you enjoy. And I love Lighter and I love Lucy. And I wish Lighter was a fire attacker, but that didn't happen. So I have to make do with what I have. I wish Bernice was a fire attacker. I don't really enjoy Anomaly. But I made it happen. It's funny to say I don't really enjoy Anomaly when I use Vivian now. Not Vivian. I use Vivian. Well, yeah, I do use Vivian. But when I use Yanagi and Vivian, as a quick tangent, it's not that I don't enjoy Anomaly, it's I don't enjoy the fact that I feel like Anomaly teams degrade your game sense, because a majority of the Anomaly units are very strong. Like a Miyabi, Jane back in the day was the strongest unit. I know she's on Fraud Watch now. I'm really hoping they fix her and Caesar, because they both really need a touch up. I was about to say Astra, then I was about to say Evelyn, like Ellen Jo. I really think Jane Doe and Caesar could use a touch up, especially Caesar with the fact that her attack doesn't work for off-field units. I think that's a very easy fix. But yeah, I think this is honestly, I think I finished this before work. That's crazy. I think that's the main things I wanted to go over with this team. Is it's not the best, but it's fun, and that's what matters. When you play games, you want to have fun. So that's really the end of the video. That's all I can say. If you enjoyed it, I would appreciate if you could subscribe, if you could like, leave a comment. Maybe try the team out. I think that's the most important thing. I would love if you would try the team out. If you make a video on it, let me know. I want to see it. I want to see you try this team. It's really fun. I promise. But I hope you guys have a great day. I really do. I hope you guys have fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Bye.